it's more to do with the fact that they're forcing it on the kids, but they still have a level of agency where they can just throw it out. Back in my day, school pizza was all the rage. In elementary school, there wasn't really much of a pizza option except when they brought it in from places like Domino's. At least for a while, it was Domino's. Then they switched to Papa Gino's. It's a regional chain up here in the greater Boston area. But yeah, that was the way. Middle school, I think there was a daily pizza option. High school, I definitely remember there was four lines. There was a straight up salad bar, a deli line where you could literally just order, you could literally select options on a piece of paper for what you wanted in your sandwich. Then there was a line for, I guess you could call it the comfort food line. There was chicken sandwiches, then slices of cheese or pepperoni pizza, or you could get a chicken sandwich and a slice of cheese or pepperoni pizza. And then finally, there was a rotating entree line that changed every single day. Yeah, I'll admit, I was typically in the comfort food line, as we'll refer to it from here. Though I did go to the entree line sometimes when they had the buffalo chicken calzone or wrap or whatever equivalent the Michelle Obama Let's Move program standards had. And occasionally I'd go to the deli line, usually if they had the buffalo chicken wrap. I think you're starting to see a pattern here. So that brings us to today's article. Maha has a pizza problem by Nicholas Flarco for The Atlantic. Before we get started, be sure to give this video a like, comment what you remember of your high school cafeteria, any cafeteria in your school that, in a school that you had. If you remember what it was like in there, share your nostalgia, your disdain for it. I'd love to hear all about it in the comments below. Anyway, let's get into the article. Every Monday and Wednesday, students at Channelview High School outside Houston are treated to Domino's for lunch. Delivery drivers from a local branch of the fast food chain arrive at the school with dozens of pizzas fresh out of the oven, served in Domino's branded cardboard boxes. Children can be picky eaters, but few foods are more universally enticing than freshly cooked pizza, let alone from a restaurant students are almost certainly already familiar with. For kids being able to see, oh, they're serving Domino's, I think it makes a huge difference, Tanya Edwards, the district's director of nutrition, told me. Yeah, it does make a huge difference. It gets everyone hyped. I remember everyone would be hyped for pizza day during the, what was it? Whenever it came up. For a while, it was Domino's, but at some point towards the end of my time in elementary school, they switched from Domino's to Papa Gino's. It's more of a traditional Italian place compared to Domino's. So Domino's pizza is really thick crust. Papa Gino's is relatively thin crust. I'll admit I was not happy because there were small tomato chunks in the sauce that I didn't particularly enjoy. Actually, I pay 50 cents more for this squeeze bottle of a name brand pizza sauce because I know it has zero chunks compared to the jars of store brand pizza sauce. I make my own pizzas because it is way cheaper than getting delivery or takeout or even frozen pizza. Getting back to the article, the deliveries are part of Domino's Smart Slice initiative, which sends pizzas to school districts around the country, often at little or no cost to students themselves. Smart Slice is part of the National School Lunch Program, so taxpayers foot a portion of the bill to guarantee that every kid has lunch to eat. Despite kids' enthusiasm, you can see the problem. Students munching on free fast food might seem to embody everything wrong with the American diet. If school cafeterias can be thought of as classrooms where kids learn about food, giving them Dominoes would be akin to teaching driver's ed students how to drive by letting them play Grand Theft Auto. Huh, I've never actually thought of the cafeteria as a classroom. Now, in the student handbook for my high school, they did say that attendance at lunch was mandatory and counted as part of your school attendance. Like you could actually get demerits or something for not showing up to lunch. Honestly, this is something I liked more about college. You didn't have to participate in the dining program. Me, I never bought a meal plan. For the first half of college, I did go to this little cafe that sold deli sandwiches, and then eventually I dabbled in the dining hall a couple of times a week. But most of the time, I either brought my own stuff or just went home around lunchtime because I was a commuter. I refused to live in the dorms. And I probably only ate lunch with other people like once or twice. But getting back to public schools, K through 12 specifically, I do have some nostalgia for the pizza days. I'm not gonna lie. The comfort food line was admittedly my go-to, but as an adult now, I can kind of understand why maybe this isn't the best idea from a nutritional standpoint. Getting back to the article, the days of school Domino's and school pizza in general are numbered. Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and his supporters are on a mission to overhaul school lunch. Late last month, the Trump administration's Make America Healthy Again Commission released a highly anticipated report on children's health that pointed to school meals as one venue where ultra processed foods are offered to kids unabated, contributing to obesity and other forms of chronic disease. Unless cafeteria workers make school pizza from scratch, nearly every kind contains industrial ingredients that qualify the meal as ultra processed food. In effect, ridding school lunch of ultra processed foods means the end of pizza day as we know it. Or you could have them make it from scratch, and that's what the comfort food line was. As far as I could tell, the pizza in that line was from scratch. I don't know if it might have been frozen. It might have been frozen. Don't quote me on that. I don't know for sure. Okay, it was probably frozen for the sake of saving the cafeteria workers time for preparing it. Let's be honest, that's probably the case. Nothing against the cafeteria workers, nothing against letting their lives be a little easier. But yeah, I think just switching to from scratch might be a better idea. Though honestly, I'm kind of surprised that pizza days haven't been their days haven't been numbered by the fact that it's uninclusive to students with a gluten allergy. But I digress. Many of the food reforms pushed by RFK Jr.'s movement are popular. Doing away with artificial food dyes, for example, is far more sensible than Kennedy's conspiracist views about vaccines. But in the case of banning most school pizza, RFK Jr. could be facing a tougher sell. Maha's vision for food is about to run headfirst into a bunch of hungry kids in a school cafeteria. Even though Domino's school pizza is delivered by Domino's drivers carrying Domino's pizza boxes, the company's Smart Slice is different from what would arrive at your door should you order a pie for dinner tonight. Cafeteria pizza has to abide by nutrition standards for school meals that the Obama administration spearheaded in 2010. The overly cheesy rectangular pizza with a cracker-like crust that you might have eaten in school no longer cuts it. Consider Domino's Smart Slice pepperoni. It's made with whole wheat flour, low-fat cheese, and pepperoni that has half as much sodium than typical Domino's pepperoni. It's not a green salad by any means, but school Domino's is far from the worst thing kids could eat. Yeah, that actually unlocked a memory for me. I think it was junior year, so that would be 2013. They actually switched to only whole wheat bread. And I was angry. I'd like to say it was mostly on principle, because even then I was like, I thought people had the right to a choice. Or I guess I was just a contrarian where I was honestly appalled by the whole wheat thing. Like, back in the day, I could taste the difference. I was not a fan. Personally, I was never a fan of all this nutritional mumbo jumbo. Today, I'm a little more mindful of what I eat, but I still refuse to micromanage diets or deny myself something because I'm on a diet. Now, I might go out of my way to avoid the food dyes that RFK is targeting. I'll go out of my way to make my own pizza dough for my pizza. To make my own pizzas from scratch, like I said, might be a good alternative to the pizza day thing. Compared to, oh, I don't know, frozen pizzas that have all kinds of garbage additives in them. Now, you could probably be like, maybe you shouldn't eat pizza at all. Uh, no. It's a nice thing to have every now and then. I try to cap it at 3 times a week for my 9-inch square pan pizza that I make from scratch. As I record this on a Thursday, last night, I had a buffalo chicken pizza that I made while I watched How to Train Your Dragon. The original, not the remake. But yeah, I was not happy with them mandating whole wheat bread on principle. I mean, I think I actually saw something recently about how it's actually not as good a replacement as it was led to be in the past. You let me know in the comments if I'm wrong on that or not, or if you've heard anything about that too. Other common cafeteria offerings, such as mini corn dogs, mozzarella sticks, and chicken tenders, are also now more nutritious than in decades past. Those standards could still be improved, and we're still talking about corn dogs, mozzarella sticks, and chicken tenders, but they have led companies to sell slightly healthier versions of their foods in schools. Research has shown that, on average, school meals are now the healthiest things kids eat in a day. I think the key word here is slightly. I mean, at a certain point, you have to just admit that what you're eating isn't the healthiest. I mean, take the pizza example for myself that I just cited earlier. Sure, I made it from scratch, so I had to work for it, and it's not full of the preservative garbage. Okay, there's probably some in the popcorn chicken that I used for it. And I think I could fish out the bottle for the bar of the buffalo sauce that I emptied out and see if it has red 40 in there or yellow 5. But you get the idea. But hey, there are only so many things I can make from scratch. In an email, HHS Press Secretary Bianca and Rodriguez Feliciano said that while some of these products may technically meet outdated federal guidelines, they are still heavily engineered, nutritionally weak, and designed for corporate profit, not for the health of our kids. Indeed, school lunch starts to look considerably less healthy if you want to account for the growing concern over ultra processed foods. Many school lunches are made in factories with chemicals such as emulsifiers and flavor enhancers you wouldn't find in a home kitchen. Eating lots of ultra processed foods is associated with a range of maladies, including type 2 diabetes and heart disease, though nutritionists are deeply divided on just how much we should be fretting over these industrial ingredients. Not an expert here, but I would say in small doses, it's not the end of the world. Obviously, over time, it's a problem, but I think as long as you're not guzzling Red 40 right out of some kind of container every single day, I think you'll be okay for the most part. Look, not everyone can go full Bo Refik, being like, eat clean, eat whole foods. One, most people probably can't really afford to do that because Whole Foods is referred to as whole paycheck for a reason. That being said, if there is a way to, if you can make small changes without completely overhauling it, because I think trying to overhaul everything is the reason everyone goes back. Whereas if you make small changes over time, like maybe phase it out. That might be a better approach. Not advice, because I am not an expert on any of this. To some degree, whether school pizza should be avoided because it's ultra processed is beside the point. By allowing Domino's into school cafeterias, the government is essentially giving the company carte blanche to advertise its pizza. Serving Smart Slice out of a typical Domino's box gives the false impression to children and parents that the less healthy food products served in their restaurants are healthy choices, Jennifer Harris, a food marketing expert, told me in an email. I know it said that they earlier that they use lower sodium pepperoni, but you still have to ask how much salt's in there. You see, that's the whole thing about restaurant food. It's really a lot of it is salty AF. At a certain point, that might actually be a worse problem than the sugar, which is in itself a problem, but if they use less salt, then I think it's still not as bad. Obviously, it's still not particularly good, and I would argue that maybe the school district that they mentioned at the start of the article should cut it down to once a week, maybe on Fridays, to encourage students not to play hooky, but that's beside the point. Kennedy has called for schools to serve real food, whole food, farm fresh food, instead of anything ultra processed. It would, of course, be better for school cafeterias to swap out the pepperoni pizza with salad and chicken breast. But for many kids, school lunches, subsidized by the government, may be their only real meal of the day. At Channelview, where such a large portion of students are eligible for public assistance that everyone eats for free, simply getting food in kids' bellies is top of mind. I can make a fancy little sweet potato black bean bowl, but I don't think my kids are going to eat it, Tanya Edwards said. Instead, they are going to go home hungry, and I don't really know what they have at home. Honestly, yes, kids are picky eaters. I mean, you let me know in the comments down below if you think there's a certain point where they'd be desperate enough to eat something like that, if they're particularly picky. I think simplified ingredients, I think the right balance would be simplified ingredients and nothing with insane seasoning. With an option for something like a condiment station, but with seasonings if they really want to, like make seasoning and opt in. Make the base food bland and then provide options for seasoning and such if they feel inclined to do that. You know what? Maybe they should start with something as inoffensive as possible that is not ultra processed, does come from Whole Foods. I think there are viable options. But maybe we should start simple and then go from there. The concern isn't theoretical. Evidence shows that when school meals are too healthy, a sizable portion of kids simply get off the lunch line. In the early 2010s, when the Los Angeles Unified School District overhauled its lunch offerings, an effort that included removing pizza from the menu, schools reported that massive amounts of food were landing in the trash. The district later brought back pizza, and pepperoni pizza is now the district's most popular item, a spokesperson said. Food waste is a perennial issue in school meal programs. A Department of Agriculture study of more than 100 schools found that an average of 31% of the vegetables included on observed school lunch trays were wasted. Pizza, however, was among the least wasted food, along with breaded and fried chicken patties and nuggets. That just unlocked another memory. Back in my day, for high school during the Obama administration, I literally tried to give back a fruit or vegetable item that was on the tray, and then the lunch lady was like, "Oh no, you have to take it. We can't take it back." And it wasn't because of the health code or anything, it was because under the Obama nutritional regulations, the students had to at least take the fruit or vegetable offering. They literally could not opt out of it. Like, the reason it goes to waste is not because it's being kept behind the thing because students are saying, no thank you. It's more to do with the fact that they're forcing it on the kids, but they still have a level of agency where they can just throw it out. The only way that you're going to get those, there are some kids for whom the only way you're going to get that into their system is if you force feed it to them, which would raise a lot of issues on its own. So suffice it to say, it is the students who are wasting that, not the cafeteria. I mean, the cafeteria can make them take it off their hands, but they can't force anyone to eat anything. Even advocates for healthier school meals admit that there's a limit to how much students will tolerate healthier offerings. We definitely need to harness school food to educate kids about healthy eating, but I don't think that means no pizza. Janet Popandiek, a professor emerita at Hunter College, who wrote a book on fixing school meals, told me. We need to include healthy versions of kids' favorite foods. Otherwise, I don't think they'll eat. In part, to ensure that kids actually eat lunch, many school districts seem to have pizza day at least once a week. A spokesperson for Florida's Hillsborough County Public Schools, the seventh largest district in the country, told me that its first, second, fifth, and seventh most popular entrees are all in the pizza family. Number 5 is mini calzones, number 7 is pizza sticks. All told, the district has doled out nearly 3 million servings this school year. That is exactly what I suggested earlier, the healthier variants. I mean, my mom suggested this thing called whey, Whey, some kind of ingredient that I could mix into the pizza dough that I make, and then it would be healthier. It would provide some enhancement of nutritional value. I declined for the time being, but maybe I'll look into it. But yeah, at a certain point, you have to find a balance. You have to find something that kids are willing to eat, but that is also not going to cause long term health issues, or at the very least, the school's not going to be the source of it. Like, maybe switch from breaded chicken sandwiches to grilled chicken sandwiches. I mean, I've heard mixed things about grilled chicken nuggets, like the Chick-fil-A ones I've heard mixed things about those. But maybe switching from breaded chicken to grilled chicken might be a good start. If it wanted to, the Trump administration could simply force kids to suck it up and literally eat their vegetables. Technically, the responsibility of overseeing the school meal program falls to the USDA, which isn't under Kennedy's purview. The Secretary of Agriculture, Brooke Rollins, has signaled that she is on board with Maha-ing school lunch. Still, any attempt to enact a ban would likely invite significant backlash. In 2023, when the federal government floated the idea of banning the sale of sugary chocolate milk in elementary and middle schools, many parents flooded the government with complaints. So did some students. Ben, a fourth grader who left only his first name, wrote an official comment to the USDA that it should abandon the proposal because students are super mad. Members of Congress also put pressure on regulators to stop the reform. The USDA later abandoned the chocolate milk ban. In 2011, after the Obama administration released its new guidelines for school lunch, Republicans in Congress tried to fight back against healthier pizza by classifying the dish as a vegetable. My, how the tables have turned. To think, 2011. I'm sorry, it's just hilarious that back then it was the Democrats who were all like, "Make America healthy again," except with the "Let's Move" program that focused more on getting exercise than on the food as much. I saw in a Timcast clip that the lobbyists pushed for the Let's Move program to be made more about exercising and less about the food. And I remember seeing in a food theory, game theory, a video with Matt Pat. Yeah, it was game theory. They actually tested a bunch of different fast food chicken nuggets for something in relation to a video game. But yeah, it's funny now. The Democrats were all about that while the Republicans were trying to. They literally classified pizza as a vegetable. Probably because of the sauce. I mean, you could count pizza sauce as a vegetable. But I'm guessing it would have to be like the really chunky sauce, like this marinara sauce that I've been using for a while. Because I thought that Star Market had discontinued the store brand marinara sauce that I'd been using for a while. But no, I just wasn't looking hard enough. And I found the right jar, and now I'm back to traditional marinara sauce, which is a lot less chunky. It was an interesting experiment, but I'm going back to the traditional marinara sauce because it's still. Honestly, what matters is I'm using protein pasta instead of regular pasta. Hey, maybe that's an idea that RFK could get behind. Hey, RFK, if you're watching this, tell the schools switch regular pasta with protein pasta so that they're eating less carbs. It's no wonder why Maha has a problem with school pizza. Kennedy has pointed to corporate malfeasance as a leading source of America's diet problems. You don't have to be a fan of his to feel uneasy that Domino's, a fast food company that sells Philly cheesesteak loaded tater tots, is participating in a taxpayer funded program meant to feed kids nutritious meals. But Kennedy's favorite approach to food and, well, everything, big proposals and dramatic overhauls, isn't well suited to school meals. The health secretary might dream of kids eating from a salad bar stocked with seed oil free dressings 5 days a week, but ending school pizza day won't automatically make that happen. Telling kids what to eat is one thing, Getting them to eat it is another. Exactly. If they took it that far, I would literally start just bringing my own food, assuming they don't prohibit that for whatever reason, because I find the scent of salad dressing appalling. Like, every time I catch a whiff of it, I'm like, ugh, ugh. That's just how I am. Honestly, I'm so disgusted by the scent, I have refused to find out what it tastes like, and I would very much prefer to keep it that way. That's why, I use frozen vegetables instead, because I can still boil up a serving, and it's vegetables, so it's all good. Or if I do eat vegetables outside of that, fresher vegetables, I will not consume it if it has even come close to salad dressing. If you want to know how strongly I've avoided this, cousin's wedding 2021, when they served up salads before the entrees, I handed mine to someone else at my table because it had already been contaminated by salad dressing, so I was not going to eat it under any circumstances. But you see what I'm getting at? There's not an easy answer to this, because, well, I guess the first easy answer would be to just be like, restaurants, you're not allowed to participate in the school food programs anymore. From now on, it's all made in-house from scratch. Honestly, I'd argue that would probably be a good idea. I mean, the only reason that school lunches are probably a thing is for the sake of lower income students would make a who could count on that as somewhere to get food. Whereas I think if that weren't a concern, I would just say, you know what? Stop it. Let kids just bring their own food and they can figure it out. And it's the parents' problem, not the schools. That's what I would say if it were not for the fact that lower income students don't have as easy an option with that. So, yeah, I think if they just get the additives out, maybe find an additive free alternative, they could do that. They could keep pizza pizza day under the Maha movement. Like, I think there's a balance for this. You don't just throw it out overnight. Or if you're going to get Domino's out of the schools, replace it with something, provide an alternative. So on that note, I'm going to leave it here for the video. You let me know in the comments down below what you think of all this. Whether you think we should get Domino's out of the school cafeterias, whether you think that school lunches do need to be healthier like that, or what you think the balance is between healthy and something that kids will actually eat. Give this video a like, subscribe for daily videos, and I will see you soon.